Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike the Intern, Ned Reynolds in the studio. It's Friday. I'm happy. Chiefs got a win at Arrowhead last night, 27-24. Before we talk about this game, how did you watch it last night, Ned?
Watched it at a point of recreation, if you get my drift, the first half. And of course, I get up early, so I went home and just on a lark, and believe me, Mike, as technically imbalanced as I am, flipped it on. Well, I do have an Amazon app here, and I hit it, and I'll be darned if the game wasn't there. So I did watch most of the second half.
So he was all this complaining, I don't know if it's going to work, what the hell's going to go down. He had it the whole time.
I did. But the bottom line is I would like to see, and I don't know when they'll be coming out, but I'd like to see if there were any ratings taken on this and how impacting the Amazon system was. Broadcast is all right. I'm a big Al Michaels fan. I think he is a great broadcaster. Kirk Herbstreit is not Chris Collinsworth, but that's not the way he is.
I actually kind of prefer that, to be honest.
Well, no, I'm going to disagree there. Collinsworth has a lot to offer, but Herbstreit is more college-oriented than he is pro. Not to say he can't talk about it, he can, but it was an acceptable broadcast.
Yeah, I thought so, too. I think some people had some issues streaming, but I will tell you this. We were able to sync up the broadcast TV and radio, so if you do have DVR, satellite, whatever you use, if you just pause that just a minute, you can make it work, and it worked last night for sure. So awesome stuff. All right, let's talk about that first half. I think really overall this game was just a game of defense, to be honest with you.
Well, it was a different approach from Kansas City's past. Now, the three exhibition games they had and the opener with Arizona, Kansas City came right out, fired the ball downfield, and that's exactly the tack that I thought they would take last night and the tack that they did not take. They were extremely conservative. Because we're not there, I couldn't see what the defensive setup that the Chargers had. It may have been something the Chiefs weren't expecting. I'm thinking that was the case, because they played it very conservatively, gave the ball to Clyde Edwards-Helaire a couple of times, and tried an end sweep, hit a little dink pass and all that sort of thing. But they weren't aggressive. They weren't aggressive the way the Chiefs normally are. So I'm thinking the Chargers, who are a pretty good football team, folks. In fact, I'm labeling this game Kansas City's great escape, because they were fortunate to get what happened. But be that as it may, the Chargers' defensive scheme was very, very good. So was Kansas City's. However, having said that, here is Justin Herbert, 33 of 48 for 334 yards. Put the ball in the air much more than Patrick Mahomes did. Mahomes put it in the air 35 times, completed 24 of them, but only the one to Justin Watson, the touchdown pass, which I love because I think Watson's a terrific player.
God,
he is a sleeper. He's a rookie from Penn. He's an Ivy Leaguer. And he ran that post pattern beautifully, and Mahomes nailed him perfectly. But over and above that, there were no great great offensive plays that the Chiefs could count on. And it was a very conservative attack that they used. And again, that may be because the Chargers had set up in a different defensive scheme. Again, we don't know that. But regardless of that, the Chiefs get the win. The Jalen Watson pick, boy. You have to look back on the scheme of things here. But the Chargers had scored then, and they should have. But had they scored there, they win the game.
Yeah,
they're probably going to win.
Yep.
And here's Watson all of a sudden running 99 yards down the field with a pick. My goodness sake, was that ever a massive, just an upset for the Chargers. And while they did come back and score a little bit later on, you could see that a lot of starch was taken out of the ball game.
Well, that and the fact that our defense was just beating up on Herbert. I mean, they were just smashing him as much as they could. And once he started to show a little bit of signs of weakness and that he was hurting, they were going after him big time. It was almost like a boxing match.
He got banged up, and it was his non-throwing arm, but it's still, your balance is taken away from you when that does happen. Yeah, the Chiefs did put a lot of pressure on him. And you have to give them a lot of credit.
It's a boxing match,
Willie
man.
Gay, I think he had 11 tackles. Of course, what linebackers are supposed to do, make the tackles like that. But Gay had 11. And you had Chris Jones in there disrupting things, as he is so good at doing. It was a good performance by Kansas City's defense.
It was, and when we see them down the road in November, it is going to be one hell of a test. I kind of wonder maybe they just played their cards a little close to their chest in this game so they can open it up in the next one. I'll tell you something else. I knew this was going to be an issue, but them getting Khalil Mack, dude, I mean, Mahomes had 2 to 3 seconds, and that line was doing everything they could to keep him out, but it did not make our offensive line look great last night.
He being Mahomes, got belted a couple of times.
Yeah, he did.
Now, I don't think he got hurt. I haven't seen the injury report yet. I think he was probably all right, but he's got to be a little bit sore after all that's happened. That's a rough ball club. They're very good. That's a good football team. I'll be interested to see how they come back in their next game Sunday a week. And if they have the same kind of verve, I don't know who they play in their
Colts
next game.
In Indianapolis.
No, that's the Chiefs.
Oh,
I'm talking
you're
about
Chargers.
the Chargers, who they play. What they do and how they're able to manifest their game after that, because they played well.
They did play really well.
Football team.
And they're always, at least the last couple of years, like I've said, the only team in the AFC West I truly fear is the Chargers, and they proved that last night. But what a hell of a game. Thank God we had a complete team effort, at least towards the end. Ned, also, hopefully you didn't listen to him yesterday and take the over, because if you did, he owes you some money.
Well, no, wait a minute. I'm only, now, of course, there are no only.
Yeah, there's no buts in that.
I'm only 2 points short.
I know, but so Chiefs got the win against the Chargers. Very short week for them. They're in Arizona on Sunday afternoon. They're back in Kansas City Thursday to play a divisional rival. Chargers didn't have it really any better. They had to play the Raiders and then go play the Chiefs, so they had it just as bad, in my opinion. But now we got a little bit of a break, 10 days, right?
Then play the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis, and that's not going to be easy at all. Indianapolis is a sleeper ball club. A lot of the pundits in the National Football League think that they are going to be very dangerous in their division and a playoff caliber team. They'll be ready for Kansas City, I assure you that. But there is a 10-day rest. Kansas City does get an opportunity to heal up a little bit. Same can be said for the Chargers. And keep in mind, the Chargers had to travel for this game. Kansas City did not, playing at home. But, hey, that's over and above. These are professional athletes. That's what they're supposed to do. I thought it was a very entertaining football game. But, hey, 10-day rest, and we'll see what happens.
And hopefully they can learn from some of the stuff that happened last night at Arrowhead. I don't know, but I'll tell you right now, like I said, it's always good to go into the weekend with a win and that you don't have to stress about your team. All you have to do is stress about your fantasy team. All right, so while that was happening last night, the Cardinals were playing the Reds, and at one point in the first half of the Chiefs game, I think they had one TV on the Cardinals game and Coyotes. I was kind of looking, and I saw that the Reds are up 3-1, and I go, what the hell is happening?
And won 3-2. Cincinnati got the win. Albert didn't. He played. Albert is playing now in every game. Now, whether or not this is going to continue, I think it probably will, because the Cardinals pretty much have their division wrapped up, in my opinion. But they did lose to the Reds last night, 3-2. Miles Michaelis on the hill had a somewhat of a shaky beginning of the baseball game, but the fact is, Michaelis has these things happen to him. We'll see how it all works out. But that series continues tonight, tomorrow night, and then Sunday afternoon. It's a 4-game series. I really think Albert's going to wake up here and start slamming one, but he didn't have any last night. Still 3 shy, and the judge, Aaron Judge, didn't have any because the Yankees didn't play.
Crazy. I can't.
Now there were other games too. Kansas City played Minnesota. Loses 3-2 to the Minnesota Twins. They're playing out the string. And the Springfield Cardinals, who are playing in their final series of the year down in Tulsa, got an 8-0 win over the Tulsa Drillers. And Gordon Graceffo pitched outstanding baseball, 7 innings of one-hit baseball. This guy's a pretty good pitcher. Kid from Villanova, who the Cardinals got in the draft last year, and he's already in Double-A and pitching very well. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him Triple-A next spring. And who knows, maybe with the big club.
Something I want to add real quick. I just read 3 years ago, the guy that took that pick for a 99 6-point, Jalen Watson for the Chiefs, 3 years ago, he's working at a Wendy's.
How about that?
I mean, come on. So, kids, if you're listening, work hard. You can make your dreams come true yourself if you do that. All right, last but not least, and speaking of which, Missouri State Bears are in Fayetteville tomorrow night under the lights. It is a true test for that team.
Well, this one will be. Here the Bears are 5th in America. This is Missouri State, 5th in America, but it's Division I Double-A. That's not knocking it. I think it's very, very good football. The big difference between the two divisions, 1A and 1AA, is the depth of the team. That's 63 scholarships as opposed to 85 for the big schools. Okay. Therein, your bench strength really comes into play. Having said all that, Bears are number 5 in America. Very good football team. Very good. Arkansas is number 10 in America, 1A. And 1A, folks, is the top level. Arkansas is really, really a fine football team. K.J. Jefferson, their quarterback, tough to handle. Big kid, about 6'5", 6'6", about 230, 240 pounds, can throw the devil out of the football, can run it all over the place. It's a big, solid football team. The Bears are a 23-point underdog going in there. I think Bobby Petrino coming back has told his kids, hey, just get out and play. It's a big game, sure, but it's against a bigger opponent. We're supposed to get our behinds handed to us. Let's just see what's going to happen. The Bears, and there is no such thing, in my opinion, as looking forward to another game. You play them one at a time, but the Bears do have a big one next weekend when South Dakota State comes in here. And that's a league game. So we'll see what happens. I think the Bears will acquit themselves very well.
Well, I know you've got a lot of guys to pay back after suggesting the over last night, so I'm not even going to ask you what you're going to be doing as far as your chocolate chips this weekend.
Paying back.
Exactly, as you should, sir.
They won't be from that game, though. I didn't play the Chiefs game with the Chargers. I played a lot of college football. I mostly put my chips in college. I don't mess with the pros because it's so unpredictable. But college was not good to me last week.
No. Hopefully this week goes a little bit better.
Hope so.
We'll see. Hopefully I'll know first thing when you walk in that door on Monday if I see a smiling Ned or a not so smiling Ned.